In my teenage years in the early 2000s, I found my love of cars. I specifically gravitated towards cars like Hondas, Toyotas, and Nissans. My first car ever was a 94 Acura Integra, and I absolutely loved it. I felt so connected to the road, being able to shift through the gears with my manual transmission. It made me really understand myself and my surroundings. And with my 5-speed manual transmission and that LS motor, my love for driving grew quickly. I remember there were so many nights I would just leave my mom's house, go driving downtown Austin, and truly take in not only the city, but the driving experience. But fast forwarding 2 decades later, after I've bought and sold so many different cars, I wanted to recapture that inner child in me and reconnect with the road. If you're making your way back to the channel, I appreciate you so much for tuning in. In today's video, we'll be talking about why I purchased the Honda S2000, what direction the channel is going, and what I have in store this year and the coming years for the foreseeable future. After going to a few car meets, my wife and I really wanted to recapture some of those youth memories we had and share them with our kids. And there's no better way than buying some old Hondas from the golden era. In my opinion, the 90s and 2000s had the absolute best cars for the JDM scene. Stuff like the Skyline, Supra, NSX, and without a doubt, the Honda S2000. So why would I go after a 20-year-old car at this point? I actually just missed the raw driving experience that old Hondas provided. And being that I never had a Honda S2000 and the price point where they are at this current state, I figured this is the best time to do it. One of the biggest reasons why I wanted to sell my 2019 Acura TLX is because it lacked in the fun category. It was great, reliable, it had enough space, it did everything that it needed to do for a family vehicle. But essentially, when I'm working, my car is my office, and I needed to have that fun factor back in my life. I spend a good amount of time in my car every single day for work, and unfortunately, the TLX just wasn't cutting it. Another big factor of me purchasing the S2000 was because it was a vehicle that I hadn't quite yet experienced. I've had a couple of Civics, I've had a couple of Integras, and I've understood that they're for the most part the same. But with the Honda S2000, having the convertible, having that 9,000 RPM rev limiter, having that power, having that rear wheel drive, all those things wrapped up into one was a way for me to think, you know what, this is something that I haven't experienced quite yet. Let me see what it's about. And judging from everybody and what they've said, the videos that I've seen, the joy that I've seen in people's faces, it was the right move. After having owned the car for 3 months now and having put on 5,000 miles in that short amount of time, I definitely feel like there are some things that I would say are great for the platform, and there's just some things that are just not quite suitable for every single person looking to purchase one. Some people might think that putting 5,000 miles in 3 months in a Honda S2000 is absurd, and I would agree with them. But when I purchase a vehicle, I'm looking to really enjoy the vehicle to its fullest. I don't like trying to keep a car in the garage for too long, because I feel that you miss out on the experiences in life when you do that. Now, me being that I work and I'm on the road all the time, it goes hand in hand with my fulfillment. Which brings me to my first point of, I don't know if this car is supposed to be daily driven the way I drive it, at least. A lot of times people put, a few hundred miles a month on their car. But for me, driving as much as I do, I did start to feel a little bit more cramped inside the cabin. Me being 6'1", it is a little bit tighter of a ride and experience. But for somebody that's really not going to be in the car that often or for long lengths of period at a time, it should be suitable. The benefit from having this type of car is you've got power behind you at the rear wheel. You've got a 50-50 weight distribution. You've got so many other things to look and benefit from. But when it comes to a day-to-day, driving experience with long periods of time in the car, it might not be for you. One thing that I've learned to love about the car is even on a hot day, you can drop the top, and as long as you're moving, the air will cool you. At a dead stop, you'll definitely feel that sun beaming down on you. But if you're actually moving, highway or even just 45 miles per hour on the road, you're gonna get a great breeze, and it's gonna make you feel like no matter how hot it is outside, you're gonna enjoy the drive. Another area that I've truly enjoyed about the car is how the music controls and the AC and heater controls are at like a few inches away from the steering wheel. How cool is that? Obviously, with the new cars, you've got a lot of digital stuff, and in this one, it's more simple. And like I said, you're holding onto the steering wheel. It's about a finger's length away from doing whatever you need to do. Another huge benefit to having this S2000 platform is the wide range of customization options. If you want to have a more stands appeal, you can do it. If you want to race it in any form, whether it's tracking it or dragging it, you can do that. If you want to wide body it, there's plenty of options for that. If you want to make it look, brand new, you can still do that also. There's so many things at an owner's disposal that the limits are only one person's imagination. Personally, for me, I have an idea of what I want to do, but it's pretty much putting my own take on it. And that's a beautiful thing. Anybody can do whatever they want. There's no wrong answer. Which brings me to my next point. The car looks absolutely amazing. Now, there's people that are true purists and want to keep the car in its most original form with an OEM plus styling to it. That's perfectly fine and dandy. But there are some people that do like to go wild and crazy, putting on crazy paint jobs or wraps or wide bodies or stuff that people don't even think of. And that's cool too. But I think that, in my own personal opinion, the body and the lines and just the design of the car is timeless. And that's one thing that's going to stand forever, in my opinion. So what I might want to do with the car, I'm still kind of debating. I do know I want to put airbags on the car, because for what I use the car for and what my purposes are for the car, having that ability to lift up or air out and have it have really good appearance when it's parked, to me that's priority. One, because of, like I said, how much I drive, having the ability to air up and go over bumps to make sure that the underside or the undercarriage is not compromised. That's something that is truly valuable to me. Obviously, I also love a great look and a great stance to the car. So that's kind of where I have having the option of putting airbags on it can give me the ability to have the clearance as well as air out when I'm parked. In the future, I do think I want to boost the car. I'm not sure at what point. I want to make sure that the car is running 100% as much as possible before I really start doing anything modification to the motor wise, but that's still an area that I'm going to more than likely explore in the years coming. Not sure exactly when, but at some point I'll probably boost the car. With boosting my car, I want to keep the power in the modest to moderate range. I'm thinking maybe 350 to 400 wheel horsepower. Nothing absurd. I'm not going to be racing it. I'm not going to be tracking it. I'm just going to really just get on it here and there, getting on the access road onto a highway, hitting some pulls on the back road somewhere, just making sure that I can have a little bit more fun with it. I don't really foresee myself going crazy big turbo build or anything like that, but I do like that sound of having a blow-off valve and hearing the turbo spool. Another area that I've really thought about doing, and it's something that I'm still kind of wrestling with, is if I want to wide body the car. The way the S2000 looks at the moment is beautiful. My only issue is that if I were to wide body the car, that would be almost very hard to come back from. Versus if I put a decent set of 17 wheels on there, use the air ride suspension, and make it look clean and simple, I think that's always going to be the best approach. But for some of the wheel fitment that I want, which is 18 by 9.5 or 10.5, sometimes you almost have to. I'm not the biggest fan of camber, especially when it's really overdone. Some camber is needed for sure, but when it's extreme, that's just not my vibe. But some of the wheels that I'm really interested in almost need to have wide body. Which brings me to my next point of what I want to do with the car, and that is definitely get a great set of wheels. Again, this is something that I'm wrestling with to know if I want to go with a set of 18s or 17s, but that's definitely one area that I'm going to have to think about before I make the purchase, because purchasing that set of wheels is going to kind of move the needle forward for whatever I want to do with the build. Now, again, I plan on having this car for, hopefully a decade plus, maybe 2 decades, passing it along to my kids whenever one of them wants to take it off my hands. But having this car now and planning for the next foreseeable future, I kind of need to have that stuff in order. But getting a good set of wheels is definitely on the list of things to do. Another area I definitely want to add to is some of the aesthetics. I want to add a carbon fiber hood and trunk. Recently, I just picked up a lip from a person locally, $20. I still got to do some fitment adjustment on there and put it on there. But for the most part, I do want to have a carbon fiber trunk and hood. I just think they look so good when done tastefully. I don't need anything extreme or out of this world, but something that gives it a nice little contrast to what the color is currently. And the good thing about that is having carbon fiber trunk and hood, if I really wanted to paint or wrap my car in the future, it goes with everything. There's no hit or miss. It's always a hit. But my biggest priority at this point in time is making sure that the car is running efficiently. Recently, there was a check engine light that came on, which came from the evap system. I think there was a leak on the canister side, something I can definitely track down and work on. But I've also got to take care of my 99 Civic that got to get running before I do too much more with the S2000. If you stuck around this long in the video, thank you so much. I appreciate your support. If you would, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, because myself and my wife will be unveiling other cars that we've acquired in this past 2024 year to bring to you all in the near future. We've got a lot of surprises coming up, and with hopefully my wife's Del Sol coming back very soon, you'll see that hopefully in the next video. But until next time, thank you. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.